From Homestead Media, this is HHS In Depth.
For the first time this school year, the COVID-19 pandemic has sent students home for virtual learning. Ahead, hear the administration's response to what the next few weeks of learning will look like.
Plus, the show must go on. Coming up, learn how Homestead is still having a fall play in the middle of a pandemic and what the show will look like this year. Those stories and more, straight ahead. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jacob Bashford.
And I'm Carly Flanagan. This week was certainly newsworthy on the COVID-19 front, as for the first time all year long, SAC's administration made the call to switch all Homestead students to real-time at home due to the number of adult staff members who were quarantining. HHS In Depth reporter Ashton Hackman is in now to get you caught up on the latest regarding this temporary stint at home for both middle and high school students.
Due to an influx of staff members absent in quarantine for COVID-19, SAC's secondary schools will go virtual for the next few weeks.
At this point, having done real-time and traditional for as long as we have, I think we're in a place where all of us can, for a long period of time, maintain momentum in the classroom being at home, the classroom being in the school, or the classroom being on the computer if we stick to a regular routine.
Across Indiana, a record 5,000 Hoosiers test positive for the coronavirus each day. This is a stark increase from when the pandemic started in March, and with Thanksgiving around the corner, many fear that cases will continue to rise, resulting in more shutdowns.
There's always a possibility that this could come up again, short or long term, and that's why we put this particular schedule in place. So we want our students to maintain their academic approach and their learning. And what we learned last spring, we lost a lot of ground academically. And so we think this will be more advantageous for our kids. Obviously, what happened last spring was a hopefully once in a lifetime experience. And the way we reacted was the best way we could react at the time.
Some parents have drawn concerns over the number of low contact letters being sent by the district, but Superintendent Dr. Phil Downs stresses the letters show the district is keeping students safe. In a statement, Downs said, quote, "As it stands right now, there should be a lot of low contact letters going out because Allen County is orange on the state COVID map. However, they should reassure people that SACS is carefully checking the status of each person and notifying parents. One of our main purposes is to let parents know we saw your student and your student was not a high exposure. The work to do this is huge. There are a lot of people working long hours to keep kids in school." As of now, SACS hopes to return to school on Monday, November 30th. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Ashton Ackman.
Basket Weaving Club meets every other Thursday in Mrs. Ricker's room, room 204. Due to the shift to real-time at home, their next meeting will be after school on Thursday, December 3rd.
Young Americans for Freedom meetings will be on hold for now and will resume meeting the Tuesday following Thanksgiving break.
Interact Club will continue to meet virtually on Wednesdays at 2:45 p.m. Contact Mrs. Dean if you did not receive the Zoom link at the email address shown here.
Around this time every school year is the theater department's production of a fall play. But this year definitely presented challenges they've never seen before.
When we come back, you'll see what the new changes are in store this year for the students putting on a fall play during a pandemic.
You're watching HHS In Depth with Carly Flanagan and Jacob Bashford.
Fans of Homestead's theater department can feel a little bit of normalcy next week as the annual fall play will debut. HHS In Depth reporter Cora Shaw is in now to tell us about this year's show and crew members and how they all brought it together during a pandemic.
Although COVID brought a halt to the spring musical last semester, it couldn't keep the theater department down for long. The fall play is still on for next week, but it'll look a little different this year.
So obviously COVID's a factor, so we have to be, socially distanced. And one of the things you'll notice is we're doing a night of scenes, multiple different scenes throughout the night and monologues. So usually what we would do is we do, everyone's on stage, it's one theme, one show, but this year we're having like 30 different monologues and 10 different scenes throughout the entire night.
All of us are given a dramatic monologue to do and a comedic monologue to do, and then we have the choice to do scenes together if we would like. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more all across the board instead of one script, list of characters. It's just very open.
Actors are starting to adapt to this new norm, and audience members can expect to be socially distanced, but nonetheless still able to attend the performance.
I still wanted to have the fall play because I want the students to have as much of a sense of normalcy as possible, and especially my seniors to still experience as much as possible for their senior year. The audience will be spaced out throughout the auditorium. We already have seats labeled from study halls and choirs in there, so that's the game plan with that.
Tickets will be sold at the door, so make sure to come early to secure your spot. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Cora Shaw.
One of Homestead's most popular ways to earn credit outside of the school is the business department's internship program. HHS In Depth reporter Hadley Mertz is in now to tell us more about the program and how students are still navigating it during a pandemic.
COVID-19 has taken a toll not only on students' education, but on their opportunities outside of school, such as internships.
COVID-19 hasn't really affected my internship that significantly. I always knew I was going to do an internship, but I guess I just decided on here because it was the most convenient opportunity for me.
I thought that at first I was going to intern somewhere else, but then I decided that I needed to look for somewhere that was open and that was going to be active during the school year. The leniency has changed this year due to COVID-19, and we're now able to get a few less hours if we need to.
While some may think that COVID-19 has a negative effect for internship opportunities, Mr. Rogers believes that among a few challenges, it has also added a great benefit to businesses.
We have a reputation now in our program of, having top quality students, and that businesses know that. And so they understand, okay, it's just gonna adjust. I mean, there's 80 plus interns. And we only lost a few that had to leave the program because they couldn't find a placement. And that says a lot. It's a unique time for sure, but you just have to adjust. And I think our interns here have done a great job at doing that.
Despite all the obstacles coronavirus has brought, students still manage to adapt to the new change. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Hadley Mertz.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Homestead was not able to have a typical registration. In order to streamline the process, school pictures have not been given a set date. But as the end of the semester gets closer, many Spartan families have been curious about when the school pictures will be taken.
Since we couldn't do student pictures on registration day, we have to schedule those differently, obviously, this year. And we have scheduled October and December for the senior pictures. Already did one round of those. Seniors will finish up getting their yearbook pictures taken in December. And then we're hopeful that we can schedule something in January or February for our underclassmen.
In order to have pictures being taken safely, there are many precautions put in place.
We will make sure to have all of the same practices that we do throughout the school day. We'll have distancing. Our students will wear masks prior to the photo being taken, and we'll make sure that classes are scheduled so that we're able to contact trace if necessary.
For now, we can expect to have school pictures being taken in January or February of 2021. Students and parents will be notified when the day is set for school pictures to be taken. If there are any students that come into the school district after the pictures have been taken, they will have an unofficial photo taken for Power School. They can always ask an administrator for the phone number of LifeTouch to get their pictures. Turning to weather now, the last few days have felt more normal for this time of year, but what's in store for us weather-wise this weekend?
Jenna Lane is in now to tell us what we can expect to see outside.
Well, for today, it'll be pretty clear with a high of 46, but you might want to dress in layers for the game this evening as temperatures begin to cool down. By kickoff, you can expect it to be in the lower 40s and down into the 30s before the game ends. Saturday and Sunday will warm up a bit though, as Saturday reaches a high of 50 and the temperature on Sunday gets up to 62 with a slight chance of showers. I'll be back in a few minutes with your check of the 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you, Jenna.
Next in sports, the football team won their second consecutive sectional championship last Friday.
Ahead, get a recap of that game as well as the girls' basketball season opener against the Carmel Greyhounds last Saturday. We'll be right back.
Tonight, a football regional matchup. The 10-1 Homestead Spartans versus the 10-1 Westfield Shamrocks. Listen on The Point 91 FM. The first home girls basketball game against Wayne. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. only on Homestead Live.
Welcome back. I'm Ashton Ackman. The Spartan football team racked up some hardware last Friday with a recap of the sectional final against the Tigers. Here's sports reporter Caleb Wood.
16 6A football teams competing for 8 sectional titles across the state of Indiana. Homestead faces off against their first non-conference team of the season, the Warsaw Tigers. Warsaw getting on the board early after an 8-minute opening drive, but the Spartans would respond, taking only about 8 seconds to score. Evan Ormsby to Anderson for the 79 receiving touchdown. Second quarter, Ormsby passes to Gage Sparrow for the touchdown. Spartans take the lead 14-7. From 1 yard out, Warsaw ties it up again. And at the end of the first half, Carter Dixon puts up 3 with the 35-yard field goal. Spartans up 17-14. Here's Ormsby to Sparrow. With 2 previous touchdowns on the season, he has doubled that at this point in the game. Sparrow to the pylon, this one from 14 yards out. Again, Sparrow cannot be stopped. With his 3rd receiving touchdown of the night, that's 5 on the season. And to put an end to a Warsaw drive in the 4th quarter is Ryan Burton with the quarterback's sack on 4th and 4. Homestead wins the sectional championship 30-22 over the Warsaw Tigers, claiming their 7th sectional title in school history and moving on to regionals for an on-the-road matchup against Westfield tonight. Homestead one of 8 6A teams still in the race.
It's been a quiet few weeks in Homestead athletics. Besides the football team, the only other sport in action is girls basketball. The Lady Spartans opening up their season against Carmel last Saturday. First quarter action, Allison Stevens showing her range, splashing for 3. The Greyhounds would go up 6 over the Spartans at the end of the first. Second quarter, Stevens shines again, charging to the paint to put up 2 off the glass. Carmel would extend their lead to 18 at the half. Out of the locker room comes junior Ayanna Patterson, knocking down a triple from beyond the arc. The Greyhounds running away with this one, 66-32. That's all for sports. Jenna has a final check of the forecast after these messages.
On a future HHS In Depth, you'll learn about what is done to follow COVID exposure throughout Homestead and how the school decides when a student must go into quarantine using the concept of contact tracing. All of this and more only on HHS In Depth. For this upcoming week, we'll definitely be seeing some weather that is typical to the month of November, as slight winds continue all the way through Thursday and temperatures drop into the 40s and 50s. As you can see, the weather should be staying fairly consistent this week with the lowest temperatures on Monday. Even though we'll be staying in our homes for virtual learning these next few weeks, if you're going outside, you might want to start bringing a light jacket to brave the cold.
All right, Jenna, thank you. And thank you for watching today.
Don't forget, if you aren't going to the regional football game down in Westfield tonight, you can listen to it on the radio at 91.1 FM or online at wcyt.org.
Remember, due to the longer travel time, kickoff was pushed back an hour to an 8 p.m. start, and you can listen in with Matt Salfrank and Chris Corman on the call starting at 7:15 p.m.
We'll be back next week with an all-new edition of HHS In Depth.
Have a great weekend and stay healthy.